Welcome back to Chatooine, everyone. This is the best and brightest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy where we debate, discuss, and chat about the biggest topics in the fandom. If you're watching this live, please leave a like on the stream. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then what are you waiting for? Because today, me and Lunga are going to give you, honestly, the worst Chatooine episode I think we've ever done. And today we're talking about Bad Batch Season 2. Can you believe it, Lunga? Can you believe that we made it to a second season of our favorite show?
You know, the only thing, it's like when we watch the other shows, the one thing we complain about is like, man, there's only like 6 episodes. Not a lot of story telling the story. And then I'm watching this show, I'm like, why the fuck is this thing 15, 16 fucking episodes? This is too much.
Oh my God. I literally finished the series right before we started. I've been watching it for the past 3 days, and that was my reaction to this. Like, God damn, 16 fucking episodes. And when you watch it, it's not like, I mean, I'm trying to think of a show that has like a lot of episodes in a season that don't, I would say like maybe The Sopranos or something like that, because I love that series. Like when I'm watching that, I don't feel like, oh, this is going on forever. Hurry up and finish the season. Like it doesn't feel like it's taking up a lot of space. This series, though, oh my fucking God. I mean, this series drags on for a long time. But let's start off with our I guess initial reactions to when we first saw this season 2. For me, it was literally just now. Like I just finished it. I will say, starting off, it is better than I thought it would be. Not great, but just better. Not as many filler episodes as I feel like season 1 had, or even like Star Wars Rebels tends to have a policy of doing. But still not that great, man. Like there wasn't a lot of things in it that I feel like the highs in this season were consistent. Like let's say like one of the highs in season 1 was the first episode with, like, remember how it was like an hour long? They did it on May the 4th, and you saw Caleb Dune or whatever the fuck. That was like a 10 out of 10. The ending with Camino, 10 out of 10. The one with Cad Bane, 9 out of 10. Like these are like highs in season 1, and that's where they reach like almost perfect, if not perfect, episodes. There was none of that in this season. But all the good episodes, instead of being like 2s or 3s like in season 1, they're more mid, like 7 and 8s. Yeah, it just wasn't that disappointing as season 1. So initially, as this is my first time even talking about Bad Batch season 2 after seeing it, I will say it's not as bad as I thought it would be. We'll talk about if it's better than season 1 probably later and everything. But I mean, I feel like I like this more than I was planning to. And there is some interest of a 3rd season for me that we know is coming. But I am kind of like, okay, I mean, I guess I'll get around to it when it comes out or when it's finished and everything. Yeah. Since you saw this more when it came out, I think it came out back in like May or something. What's your initial reaction to season 2? How do you feel about it?
Yeah. Disclaimer for everyone, unlike Only, I did not rewatch this trash. Again, I'm using trash loosely. There's some good stuff, but I did not watch this overall trash again because I don't rewatch things I love barely, let alone things I did not really enjoy. So I was not going to rewatch that for this. So I'm sure, you know, if there's, you bring up things that it'll spark them.
Well, it was only my first time seeing it. I completely missed it when it released. So I won't rewatch this series. I haven't watched rewatched season 1, nor will I.
Yeah. But when I saw it, I mean, what's the opening shot? It's fucking Omega again. And I'm like, here we go. More of this shit. More of this shit. And it's like, oh, now she's got a fucking helmet and this bow and arrow that she got. Then it's like, ooh, how can we make it fantasy but still Star Wars? It's a lightsaber on a bow and arrow. Shoot lightsaber pellets. You know, Yeah, so I mean that's what I saw. And then the feel of how they were, everything, it just continued, you know. Um I actually was very happy, believe it or not, with Echo's arc this time. Because I was like, what the fuck was the point of him last season? Remember? I'm like, he was pointless in season 1.
Yeah, they
It was
did
like
a
there's
lot
no
more with him
reason.
this time.
Yeah. They actually gave him an arc, right? Other than them saving him. It's like, what are you gonna do? I'm going with you guys. Or what are you gonna do with us? I don't know. We're only gonna see you in like 3 or 4 episodes. Or you're gonna be in the background for all of them.
I'm like a droid that's
yeah.
mine.
Right. I got a droid's dick on my hand.
They couldn't give him a blaster or a fucking knife or anything.
No. I got a droid's data port.
Oh yeah, the little thing that like, isn't that what tech does anyways? Like, who the fuck? Like, it makes sense what they did with him throughout this season.
Yeah,
that first season they had.
I mean, well, to be fair though, that whole thing with Echo though was a storyline back in was it Rebels or Clone? No, it was Clone Wars.
He wasn't in Rebels. He was definitely in Clone Wars, and they introduced the Bad Batch in season 7.
Yeah.
Where they rescue him, you're like, oh, I forgot, because he I can't remember, but he like
but they already did that whole thing where they plugged him. Yeah, but they had him plugged into that whole thing before that last season. You know what I mean? We didn't know what happened to him, but we did, but he was like plugged into the computer and shit, and it kind of just left it hanging there, and then we got it in that, in the end. So there was kind of like this computerish thing going on with him, like. He's fucking Neo in the Matrix, But yeah, so there were some bright spots with certain things, but again, I just like, this is no different than season 1 for me overall. They're just continuing the same storylines, dragging out storylines. 16 episodes where maybe 6 or 7 mattered, and like 10 of them were episodic filler episodes that didn't even need to be there. And I'll get into a reason why. And it's not the typical reasons. It's an in-story reason why they didn't need to be there anymore. But, so that was the issue I had with this. Like, I drug myself through it. And it's just like the first season. It's like, then I get an episode. It's like, ooh, this is interesting. And then I have to hit 2 or 3 more. It was like, just like, fuck. And then the next one, oh, this is interesting. And that's how it went the whole fucking time for me.
I'm kind of the same too, because as someone, like I said, I've watched it for the first time over the past 3 to 4 days. There were some episodes that I was like, oh, this is actually good, and then immediately goes back to like, God damn, what am I doing, wasting my time? Like, I looking back at like at least the first 2 episodes, they go to like Count Dooku's planet for 2 episodes, and
Sereno.
Sereno, because he was like not the emperor of it, but he is like a monarch.
Duke.
He's in charge.
Yeah.
He's a duke, the Duke of Sereno. God bless him.
Or Count. Sorry, Count Dooku.
I don't care. I read the books and I don't remember shit.
Whatever.
He
wasn't Duke Dooku.
It's an unfortunate fucking name.
Yeah.
What do you mean, kid? His last name's already Dooku. Dooku. No, that 2 episode arc of them on Sereno and going to Dooku's old palace, stuff like that, it just really felt pointless and waters a lot of the stuff down. Where it's a weird, it's a fine line I think they have to walk. Of, you want this to be a fun adventure that everyone likes, and this clearly is gearing towards like a younger audience. But at the same time, when I'm watching this stuff and I think about Clone Wars, I'm like, man, like, how is this appealing to almost anybody? Because even as a kid, I remember loving Clone Wars and what they were doing. It, but if every arc was different, every season was a little different, and we followed the same people. And even as someone who was younger, as I got older, I kept getting more and more engaged. This series doesn't feel like it's even really made for a younger audience, because this is like a series that I think only us diehard Star Wars fans watch. You don't hear anyone talking about Bad Batch in the casual world of Star Wars, or even like casual audiences. Like, this isn't a very big show for a lot of people, but it keeps us fans busy. It keeps us like a little happy of like, oh, we don't have much to give you right now, so here's Bad Batch. And I wasn't happy with the idea of a Bad Batch series from the word go. But
it's that same overused era between Jedi and
But even then, like this is a unique.
Between,
I think
Pickles
this
and
is a
Drag.
more unique concept than what Rebels was, because Rebels.
Well, yeah,
was
because
like,
it's the early years of the Empire.
Yeah, and it's from the perspective of the clones and stuff like that is interesting. Whereas Rebels was just like, oh, between episodes 3 and 4, again, like that stuff wasn't so interesting to me. This concept was solid, but then when you actually get down to like the nitty gritty of the characters, a lot of them are pretty plain. Like when this second season specifically, like Wrecker and Hunter, who are like the most consistent in the group, it seems. They had no arcs or anything to them throughout this entire season.
Well, Hunter
Nothing
does, but it's a dragging out of the same arc.
Yes,
And
it's I want Omega to have a better life.
I want to be more of a dad. It's the Mandalorian shit, right? That's what we're doing. But the Mandalorian's done like he still has a priority. You know what I mean? And you don't see him like not wanting to do work because of Grogu, right? Hunter seems like he wants to like that offer that Mando got in season 1. You could settle down here, stay here. It'd be a good place for you with a girl, and he didn't stay. That's what Hunter wants. That's what he wants to do. That's the discrepancy with him and Echo. Echo's like, we have to fight.
Yeah, but I liked seeing that with Echo this time around, and I think what's odd about the whole father-daughter thing with Hunter and Omega is like, well, you guys are brother-sister. I would rather them just kind of steer towards that of like him being like, well, this is my little sister, and I gotta protect her. But
hold on.
More of a we've seen role than everyone else.
Like when you have those kids that are like 15 years apart, 20 years apart, sometimes it happens, right? Your old man, 70 years old, has a kid. And if the parents die, that older brother does take on a father role. It's happened a lot in those kind of situations with a much younger sibling. You know what I mean? So that one wasn't too weird to me. You know what I mean? And think about it. What do they know as brothers? Their brothers are soldiers. That's literally all their brothers. That's what they are.
But I mean, still, they're for Hunter and Wrecker as well. Like Wrecker really is just like a comedic relief so far in this season, or not so far throughout the whole season. They didn't have much going for them. Nothing that really like struck a chord or wrote home. But before we get on to like some of the more specific topics of, I guess, this season, even though it's not all that interesting or good, do you think it was better or worse than season 1? Because I'll be honest, I thought it was better. I think looking back at season 1 and like the annoyance that I had with the series, and honestly the disdain that I had for Echo, and I think at the time I was like, there's no way I even want to watch season 2. Like I just don't care. And I think that's the main reason I didn't watch season 2 up until now. I think this is better than season 1. Not by leaps and bounds. Like I said earlier, the highs in season 1 are higher highs than what we had in this season 2. But season 2 kind of hit its stride a little bit more, where it was like, okay, not so great of an episode, not so great of an episode. Oh, this was really good and really interesting. Not so great. Oh, good, and then not so great, good. Like it was consistent, and so that's what I think I liked about the second season. So I do think it's better than season 1. But do you feel the same way?
You mentioned, by the way, you said disdain for Echo, which was Echo or Omega, what you meant? Because you said my disdain.
Oh, my
for
bad.
Echo.
Disdain for Omega, but also disdain for the lack of character they gave out Echo in season 1. They did nothing in season 1.
So again, just like everything else, so once you got closer to the end, it was better because it does look like it's leading towards a bigger storyline, right? Yeah. Other than the smaller storyline, which it's going to be either they all die, or which I don't think is going to happen in an animated show.
I would love that.
They all die, or Hunter and Omega are going to find life somewhere calm, or no, Hunter's actually going to die, and it's going to be one of the other ones, Wrecker or something, that ends up staying with Omega to honor their fallen brother who's gone. So, I mean, we know they're going to get that kind of ending, that Rex kind of thing, where he went off into the sunset, and was lived peacefully for a while. As he grew older.
Okay, yeah. Where he fucking has to fight the Empire for the rest of his days.
I mean,
he showed up on Endor and everything. That man.
Wasn't when they found him at the one place? They were kind of quiet there for a few years. They were when you.
Yeah. I guess a year to them is more like 10 years to us. So
it's dog years,
Dog days are over, Rex.
Yeah. But, yeah, it looks like it's going somewhere. The whole cloning thing. That's gonna, I like tying up loose ends. We talked about how, if they do it right, this can kind of do like what the Clone Wars did, and it can kind of tie together, garbage from the sequels that was just kind of thrown together, and kind of, have it make sense in conjunction with what the Mando is doing, with that as well. So that is intriguing. And in that aspect is better than season. However, Omega's still in it, and she has a more prominent role, which makes it worse than season 1. In that aspect.
You really don't like her, do you?
I can't stand it. Fuck them kids. And not even fuck them kids. Fuck that kid specifically. Can't stand her. I can't stand her. They're always like, oh no, we can't put her in danger, but we're going to fly around the entire fucking galaxy. Like they always, people will talk shit about Mando. I think we brought it up a couple times. It's like, well, if he cares about Grogu so much, why is he bringing him on all these missions? And it's like, okay, listen, but he's not bitching about it, right? He's not bitching about, I got the kid. He's not bitching about it. They're like bitching about, oh, stay in the ship. The bitch never stays in the fucking ship, right? So the first episode, okay, running around and they make a big deal about that. And he's realizing that, oh, she's one of them. Just because she's young and a girl doesn't change the fact that she's bred just like they're soldiers and she's going to want to fight, and this and that. It's like, come on, though. I mean, what are we, she just does everything. And not only does everything, just about every dangerous situation they end up in is because of her. That whole Echo thing, the life we live is because of her and she felt bad. He was fucking right. Okay, he was right.
Yeah, he was like, I don't.
He was right
anymore.
And it's not because they're trying to hide her. It's because she literally just can't sit the fuck down. Just sit down for a little bit.
She's part of the team. She's got her little crossbow now and everything.
Yeah,
she's an important clone apparently.
And the Sereno dude on Dooku's planet tried to give her a little kaleidoscope. What's this shit? Fuck this shit. I want weapons. I don't like toys. And shit. It's
yeah, and that whole thing with him was kind of weird too, because I was like, is he gonna betray them? Is he gonna kidnap? Like,
I thought that too, and no, nothing. He just finds.
It's fine that it's nothing, but it felt kind of odd.
Yeah, but
and it felt like such a side tangent too.
I do want to talk about it. I do want to talk about it. Actually, now that I think about it, there's been books and other stuff about Dooku, and Dooku is an extremely interesting character. Extremely interesting character. And when you really look at it, and even the way they portrayed him in the prequels, he wasn't, even though he became a Sith, right? He fell. He wasn't really evil. He wasn't Darth Vader. She wasn't Palpatine kind of evil.
Yeah.
He legitimately thought he was helping people. That's what he thought. That was the whole reason he did the separatist group and all that other shit. Okay. Then Clone Wars kind of did that, kind of tipping him towards that side. Kind of that's a Filoni thing, because that's what he's doing with Thrawn, trying to make him more evil than he actually was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they kind of tipped him towards that a little bit, but he was still, kind of okay. Then we get this, and it's like, oh, he was stealing from the whole galaxy, but worse than that, he was stealing from his own people. He cared about Sereno. In everything we've read and everything, he cared about Sereno. Now he's a robber baron
too. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful place. I think Lucasfilm has this tendency to not really know how to walk like a gray line with some of these characters, of like Han Solo in A New Hope, where he shoots Greedo first. It's like, oh shit, like he doesn't give a fuck, but he's a good guy at heart, kind of thing,
Right.
They don't do anything like that anymore because I think they're scared to, and I think a large part of it, they just don't know how to have complex characters and feelings with people like that, like you would in like Game of Thrones, where there's some characters that are like, I don't know, Tyrion or something like that, where he's done a lot of maybe bad or kind of evil stuff with his family and everything, but end of the day, Jamie Lannister's a perfect example.
Jamie, I was gonna say the first one is actually more than Tyrion is Jamie.
Yeah, so Jamie's a great example of like evil, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not one of these people who's like a Jamie sympathizer. I still think he's a piece of shit by the end of the series, and what they did with him also made it worse. But in general,
they fucked that whole thing up.
Yeah, but overall, like you can see how you can go from hating him to slowly liking him. And I don't think Lucasfilm knows how to do that with a lot of these characters. And with this first 2 episodes, they kind of do the same thing again with Dooku, of like, oh, he's just an evil son of a bitch, and it's like, okay, that's.
But like the
I get
bassist, right? The bassist is kind of evil. It's like he's a robber baron. He's stealing all this money and gold from his own people. Like he's not fucking super rich to begin with because he was. He's stealing money from his people.
He needs money from you folk. Like what the hell?
Yeah, and not to mention, all those separatist, planets that were with them that were contributing. I mean, the fucking Trade Federation. I mean, they were fucking loaded. You know what I mean? It's like
fuckers were rich.
Right, they're like the Federal Reserve and shit over there,
Yeah, I mean, that's the banking clan. That's the
banking, yeah.
Ones,
But, yeah. Okay, they're OPEC. There you
go. I will say though, for Omega, I share a lot of your resentment for her, but mine is a little different. You guys who are listening, you guys know how judgmental I am on certain things, and if I don't like someone's face, I just don't like them sometimes. And I don't like her fucking face.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
They went too far with her fucking accent. Everything she says, she enunciate every syllable like wrong. She'll be like,
well, because she's New Zealand, and Australian New Zealanders, they chew their vowels. No, they chew on those vowels.
Like having the accent slightly there and then like playing it up. Where where's the A and U? Where's the fucking A, Omega? It's stuff like that where I can't say. And I hate her face.
Has anyone ever looked it up?
Face.
Who's the voice actor that plays her? Are they actually from New Zealand?
I don't know.
I never even looked it up because I don't care about her so much.
I was about to say I saw it at the end of the credits and I was like, oh yeah. I don't fucking care.
Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah, let me know because I cannot stand that fucking accent. I can't stand
because it does sound like it could be a very fake accent.
That's
like
what I'm
not
saying.
Someone who's
it's
natural
not
from
like
there.
It's like I'm trying to think of an actor who has like a natural English accent or Australian accent that you normally don't mind. Like there's a lot of these guys out there. Like even what's his name, Tom Hardy, the guy who played Bane in Batman.
Yeah,
he's been in a lot of great movies. He's got that accent to him that you can tell even when he's sounding American. It's slightly, but even when he plays his actual roles of like Peaky Blinders and everything, it's not so over the top where you're like, okay,
well, Tom Hardy is British. You know that, right?
I know that, but that's why I'm using him as an example. Is even when he's doing his like native fucking accent, it is not so over the top.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's Michelle Ang, an Asian woman. But Asian women do come from New Zealand too, so I'm not going to assume that she's not.
I was about to say that's news to me. Oh shit! I dropped my cigar.
Oh, good job. Yeah, she went. Yeah, she was like featured at New Zealand Film Festival, so I'm assuming she's a native.
Okay, that makes sense. So I apologize to people who are from New Zealand listening to this. I guess I just don't like your accent because that shit is just fucking. Like hideous the way she talks. I can't stand it. But other than that, like I don't dislike Omega as a person, I guess. Like she doesn't annoy me that much in the show like she did in season 1. I really feel like this season they kind of let other characters breathe a little bit. Like Crosshair. I was so surprised what they did with Crosshair because there was an episode, I think it was the 3rd one, where it was just him. And I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this one's really good." And I think he meets up with Commander Cody again, and
Cody, which was nice. It was cool to see Cody. And they didn't like say it, but you talk about your regrets, and it was that was about Obi-Wan because he was Obi-Wan's guy, right? And he shot him out of the fucking
and it wasn't so forced in your face, even with him coming in, that it was like, "Hey, I'm Cody. Remember me?" I remember. Right. It was just like, oh yeah, this makes sense. They're gonna work together. They're both clones and the same thing. And I love what Cody said at the end of like, what? We're different from droids. Crosshair. Yeah. We remember the things we do. We got to live with them. It's like, oh yeah, that's actually a nice little. And then I realized,
which was a shout out to Obi-Wan, right? That's what that was.
Obi-Wan, but not so on the nose. He could have just been. I remember when I shot General Kenobi 5 seconds before getting
right.
a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Remember when he was on that mountain?
Yeah. He was on a lizard, Crosshair.
Yeah,
and it made a noise like, and I shot him. I said, "Fire!"
I didn't even care about the lizard. I shot
Peter who? Fuck him.
Yeah.
But no, like it wasn't so bad in that entire episode. I was like, holy shit, I haven't seen Omega, Wrecker, Tech, or Hunter this entire episode. And this was
Yeah.
really good. And there's like I think two or
And he
maybe
flat out
three entire
murked
episodes.
that governor. Cody wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah, he did.
And he flat out just murked her from behind.
Yeah, and but even that was like actually a touching scene, and not him killing her, of course, but the scene where Cody's like, "Hey, look, like I'm a soldier. We fought in the same war. It's over. Like, and I know you don't like the Empire, but this is a chance for peace for your people." And she gives into it like that. That scene was good, and then of course, Crosshair kills her. Like, it's surprising how good that episode was and how interesting. Like, because that's not an important episode in the overall series. But if some of the episodes were like that, where they actually were quality side stories, I think the series would be better received in general. Because to me, that's kind of like what Clone Wars would do. Of, okay, maybe you're not a big fan of this arc that takes up 3 episodes, but it does have an arc. And a lot of times it is pretty good, even if it has nothing to do with the overall story. And I think this series and Rebels, too, pretty much anything Lucasfilm Animation has done since Clone Wars or Disney took over, they have a tendency to make filler episodes for no reason at all. I'm like, would it not cut your budget in half if you took 16 episodes, dropped them down to 8, and then removed all the filler? Because I promise you, I'd be a happier fucking person.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even 10 or 12,
Yes,
even 10 or 12
would be amazing.
is fine.
Because when I look at this recent season, like, it's not as many filler as season 1. There's some that are not needed, and maybe some.
Oh yeah, there were. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean,
can I get to the point?
They go, pray tell.
I'll tell you why. There was too much filler, because it was something that they started in season 1 that should have been resolved in season 1, but they waited until the end of season 2 to do it. And it was like, everybody knew since the word ghost, it was going to fucking double cross them, right? We knew that. Early on in season 1, and you dragged it out again through season 2. Until the very end of season 2.
The whole thing with Sid this season actually was really bad. Like, I completely forgot about this episode. There was an episode where they did like a pod race, and Tech had a race for her and everything like that. And every episode kind of started off with Sid of like, "Hey boys, you need to go on this mission for me. I'll get." It's
like playing a video game and keep going to the quest giver. And I got another one for you.
and you could say that for like the Mandalorian of like, oh well, the same thing happens, but those adventures are interesting and they're different every time normally, and at the end of the day they make a step forward. Every single mission that Sid sent them on this season, they failed. They didn't get the war chest from Dooku. They didn't get like anything salvageable from like the ship that they raided or whatever. Like everything they did, they ended up failing, and it just became a side adventure filler episode for literally no reason at all. You could take out the Dooku episodes, those first 2. You could take out the one where they do the race thing for Sid, and you literally would not miss anything of merit in this entire season or series. And that's where it gets annoying. And we, like you said, we all knew she was going to betray them at the end. But even the way they did it at the end, it wasn't very like, oh my God, they betrayed her. It was just like, oh.
It was like, finally?
We're here. Yeah. It took you 2 seasons, something that you could have wrapped up in 6 episodes.
And by the way, 2 seasons, 32 motherfucking episodes. Okay.
32 fucking episodes.
And it's not like it was like those other cartoons. It's not like it's anime cartoons that are like 15, 20-minute episodes, right? No, these are full half-hour fucking episodes, okay?
Yes.
It's like, come on. Now, I will say they did use her to introduce Phee, and I actually enjoyed Phee. Listen, good old Wanda Sykes.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't like Phee? I liked Phee.
I
like the whole Indiana Jones treasure hunting shit.
That stuff was kind of cool, and I liked the plant they went to, Pabu, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
That Phee, took. I don't know what it was, because what'd you say her name is, the voice actress? Because she is popular.
Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes. I like her as a voice actress. I've heard her in like BoJack Horseman and thought she was really good in that and everything. But for some reason, whenever she talked, I don't know if it was the audio engineering or what they did behind the scene in post, but her voice overpowered every single other person and even the background music throughout the entire time she was in the series. Mainly the first episode.
I didn't feel that.
Oh, I felt it where I was like, Jesus Christ, I got to turn down my volume. Her voice is just like, I don't know, too powerful, I guess. Like it's almost too recognizable where it's like, look, I get it. It's Wanda. Like I've heard her in other stuff before. But like the episode she was introduced in, I can't remember what they did. Oh, they dealt with the Zepho machine.
Yes.
And it like went on pointless episode. I barely remembered it because like I just it wasn't memorable. That episode I didn't really like, and so I'm not a big fan of her character, but I'm not opposed to like seeing her again. Um, but no, I'm not
Well,
gonna
I
like
liked it because they're
obsess
trying
about
to
her.
add, some lore, filling out the, more lore of the galaxy and stuff with it. So it was kind of, I like I said, I liked it, and not her voice because you thought apparently was, but her character wasn't overpowering. You know what I mean? It was just kind of this nice side character,
Yeah, and I
that
like
gave
what
us
she had
something
going on with
different.
Tech. Yeah,
Yeah,
and what she had going on with Tech, I think, was kind of nice because clearly she's interested in him, and he's kind of oblivious to everything, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, whatever. But it
Oh,
was a nice dynamic, and the perspective that she could give on Omega to Hunter, being like, hey, maybe she should be around people her own age. Maybe she should come settle down and live a normal life as a kid and everything, and not a
yeah,
soldier. It's like, you got a good point, sweetheart. Like, like I've said before, women are often right about things. Not in Star Wars, but this lady Phee maybe is dropping some knowledge on these clone troopers that we know and love so
yeah.
well. Um, but yeah, no, she wasn't too bad. I think the series ultimately does fall flat for some of the fillers that they have a tendency to do, and
Way too much.
I don't understand
And
who
even
gets
though, like,
sometimes.
the Fee like the Fee episode, when treasure hunting was technically a filler episode, because it really didn't continue, it
Absolutely,
didn't progress the
absolutely.
story. But that's the example of where a filler episode's okay, But if you had more of those, less overall, more of those, we wouldn't have minded the filler episodes. They would have been
Mhm.
okay, but
It's wild that they did like one episode of that where they go for that treasure hunt with her, and but then they do two episodes on Sereno, and it's stuff like that where it's like, look,
yeah.
this is where the member berries kick in for me. Yes, I remember this room that Dooku was in. You
Let me
don't need
ask
to
you a
go back
question.
to it. Pray tell.
Because it doesn't really do this. Like, we know we're used to Clone Wars. We had those arcs, right? 3 episode arcs, 4 episode arcs, right? Or Clone
Yeah.
Wars would do that. This doesn't really do that. It's very episodic, right? Each episode is its own little story. And every now
Mhm.
and then they sprinkle the overarching
2 episode
storyline
arc.
into it. Right. Maybe if they would, I mean, there was a couple of them that they did 2 episodes, but overall they didn't really, I think it might be better served if they did the whole 3 to 4 episode arcs like Clone Wars. I think that would give you some more. If you're going to have filler episodes, at least it'll give you a story for that filler episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
okay.
contained in an arc.
I can kind of see that because I was going to push back and be like, geez, I really don't want some of these arcs to go to 3 to 4 episodes. But if they started off with like episode one, here's the goal. Episode two, we're
Yeah,
pursuing it. At the end of episode two, we have to do this little side tangent that goes. But like even the one where they go to like this mining planet to get like some rare resource. I can't remember. It
yeah,
starts with an I. I can't remember it. But I knew immediately, like when I saw the little scavenger guy who was gonna steal from them. I was like, oh, and this is where I get fucked up. I was just by the color of his hair. I knew he was a good guy at the end. I was like, I know exactly what's gonna happen here. I know exactly that he's gonna steal the ship, and then they're gonna realize, oh, he's got such a hard life on his own little thing. And I'm like, look, he's a piece of fucking shit. I don't care how old he is. I don't care how poor and broke he is. You stole our ship, left us for
yeah.
dead. You could have killed
The whole bunch of orphans in that fucking
yeah,
junkyard or
it's
whatever the
stuff
place
like
was.
that where it's like, and
That one
and then
dragged
like
out for me too. I was like,
it was pointless. And in the end, they're like, oh well, our leader was stealing money from us the whole time, and he actually made
right.
all the profits. But
Yeah.
now,
Well, let's
like
do
good
an
old
orphan rebellion.
socialism. Yeah, good old socialism. We're all getting an equal cut of the product now. We're all taking over the factory. I'm like, well, maybe Marco, whatever the fuck his name, had a good system running. I don't know why you were dumb enough to sit there and fight to get a bowl of fucking soup for every like that was that like stuff like that. I'm like, are these people fucking dumb? Like you can't just get on a ship and
I mean, they were
fucking leave?
mostly
Like,
young.
I don't give a fuck. Omega was young. She fucking dipped. I mean, there's
Yeah, but But she's obviously not your normal kid, right? She's a clone, so leg up on everybody.
Speaking of Omega, though, what did you think about the big reveal that made you shit your pants at the very last scene? Where, don't you know already, Omega? We're sisters. Dun dun dun.
Ooh. we knew she was a Boba Fett. I mean, I knew that too. I knew she was because they kind of hinted at that with I keep forgetting the Kaminoan's names because they were sprinkled through season 1, 2. They would talk and you kind of felt that she was the way they made Boba for Jango. Remember, he's like, part of the deal is I just want one for me that doesn't have the growth thing, so I can raise him. It felt because they kind of said that's what they want to do with Omega, even though she was an experiment. They're also like, we're going to make her grow up like a normal person, instead of a clone with accelerated growth. So she was already kind of like a no pun intended, a Boba clone, if you will. Kind of a parallel with Boba Fett in that situation. Which goes to say that there was another one, older one, too, and she was the experiment without the growth hormone. That wasn't really a big reveal, but the whole science outfit, everything. I mean, there wasn't a huge reveal with it, but you could see it's heading towards Palpatine's project, right? And that's kind of interesting, even though, most people say, I know where it ends. It's stupid. Hey, if they can make a good story, even if I know how it ends and the ending was dumb, if they can make an intriguing story in the middle, I'll like it. You know what I mean?
But it does depend on where they go because, like, that one Kaminoan that raised Omega, I think her name is like Nala or something like that. Sada, I don't fucking care. But Homegirl was saying that, what the Emperor wants is impossible, and he's like, well, you'll do your best to get it, and yada yada yada.
Yeah,
I think like it could be different enough than what we see in The Mandalorian, where Moff Gideon is trying to get Force clones of himself. That maybe what they're doing with Omega is slightly different, and maybe like the foundation of what Moff Gideon tries to do eventually, or even Sidious. But
he probably heard about the project, and he did it on. I mean, we already, excuse me, we already assumed and could see that Gideon was on his own. He was trying to create his own little empire, his own little thing.
Yeah.
On his own.
And
her name was Nala Se, by the way.
Nala Se. Oh, thank you. Namaste to you, sir.
Namaste.
But actually, though, speaking of the Emperor, though, I will say that one of the best episodes of the entire series, and mainly the season, was when he came out in the Senate. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that one? Did you like that one? I thought it was cool to have him come in for just a split.
I know it's cool to see it, but that is literally, your favorite thing.
Member berries.
Yeah, remember Alex? Oh, I remember. Remember Chewbacca again? Remember? Oh, I remember. Remember TIE Fighter?
I remember. I love to remember. You remember the Emperor? Oh, I remember. Remember the Senate?
See,
yeah,
I love it when it's something you like. It's not a member berry. You're like, that was cool. Shut up.
Yeah. Hey, there has to be a highlight in this series somewhere,
Well, again, there were a few,
member berries.
Yeah, I mean, people again, they misunderstand. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's my delivery, like because they're like I'm so harsh on things. They think I hate things. I mean, I dislike the show overall, but there's some good stuff. There is some good stuff in it. But again, how am I going to justify saying I enjoyed? I don't know. I didn't even keep count, but 5 episodes, 6 episodes out of 16. How am I going to justify saying it was a good series?
32, honestly. Like, could you honestly say you like 10 episodes of the Bad Batch
out of the 2 seasons?
Episodes?
It's pushing it, but let's just say 10 were decent for me. That's still a third.
It's only how many of those 10 do you love? I mean, like
exactly.
Oh my God, it's Mandalorian
None.
season 1 again. I love it.
None.
Yeah,
None.
That's the problem with this series. It's funny that it's a filler kind of series in terms of all the episodes, but it's a filler series as well. Of like, it seems like Lucasfilm just sometimes need things to do. Let's just put out content. Let's just put something out there and throw it to the wall and see if it sticks. And It's such an odd state of where like the company and the franchise and fandom is at, where it's like there are some people in the fandom who love the Bad Batch, and God bless you all if you like it. That's good for you. But a lot of them are just, I think, ignorant in the fact that only these diehard people who are so active in Star Wars, they're the only ones who see this stuff. They don't see the bigger picture of like, look, bro, no one wants this. No one saw Clone Wars season 7 and went, you know what I would like? A series about the Bad Batch. And that's the entire purpose of what they were doing with that arc in season 7. Wasn't just to finish
But
it, was to no, let's introduce a new series to launch into.
none of these characters are even like, they don't make me want to know more. I mean, they don't make me like Rex. When I watch Clone Wars, even though we know Clone Wars had a lot of shit, okay, in the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
but Rex, you loved Rex. You know, you enjoyed Rex.
He was like a reliable character. Every time he comes in, you know how he's going to act, and he's like a good a focal point almost of like how you feel about things and how he reacts to things. Like the episode that had him taking on that Pong Krell guy and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Great episode.
Yeah.
It really highlights someone like him, you know, but we don't feel that way with Hunter.
Yeah. And then he brought him back in Rebels, and it was even, you know, we had old Rex, you know, in Rebels, and it was cool to see him, you know. But yeah, I don't have any of that affinity with Hunter. I mean, maybe Tech, and you know, rest in peace, but we know he's not dead. They found his dude. They showed the goggles immediately after. Okay, and the goggles weren't even busted. So
okay. I don't even remember them showing the goggles.
He's not dead. Yeah, they found his goggles. He's not dead. He's not dead. He's gonna be in an Echo situation. They're gonna bring him in and use him for their experimentation, or not even Echo, Crosshair, because that's what they did with Crosshair, right? They kept him and you know, and we see where that's going. He's learning to hate the Empire from the inside out, but it's like a weird way he's doing it. It's going from the I just want to be a good soldier and you're not letting me do it. You don't respect my profession. That's literally his reason. You know what I mean? That's what it's going to be.
For him, it's a job. He's like, no, I have a job and I'm going to fucking do it. And I think like over the only 2 or 3 episodes that really showed him, it was a good arc of him being like, you know what? I don't like this shit anymore. And he turned like that was interesting. And that was actually good. I really think those Crosshair episodes were the best of the season in a way, but it's not enough to merit a series or a 2-season long arc. I mean, just that is the problem with this series overall, is it's just not good enough, even for the name Star Wars, honestly.
And you know, they wanted to make Hunter the guy, right? They gave him the long hair. They gave him, he was supposed to be the one everyone loved. The most boring of all of them. The most, like, what is he? They made him kind of like a Native American fucking tracker, basically, is what he is. You know, reminds me of the dude from X-Men. I forgot his name. There's that one guy from X-Men who's an indigenous, and he's like a tracker and stuff like that. And Nighthawk or Night, something like that.
I don't know. But I don't watch anything with him.
But none of it comes into play, really. He's boring. He's becoming a fucking wuss because I just want to be a dad. You know, it's like, I just gotta protect Omega. That's all I got. And I at the very beginning, a thumbnail made when I was still covering this stuff on my own channel. I made the damn thumbnail that it's 3 clones and a little lady. It's that damn movie with clones.
Right.
Okay. And he's freaking Steve Gutenberg. It's ridiculous. It's bad. And he's bad. And Wrecker, there's funny moments with Wrecker, but it's becoming the same funny moments every episode.
All the time. Oh, he's the big dumb funny one. Ha ha ha.
Right.
I get it. Yeah.
And the only ones that I liked were Tech and Crosshair. Crosshair because he has a different arc, right? And he's on the other side, and that's kind of interesting what he was doing. Well, Tech, I just liked him because I always liked the techie guy. But Echo was boring in season 1, but because he's splitting off, because he's like, he wants to lead this clone rebellion force, right? He wants to like fight back, and all the trauma he had, which in season 1, he just kind of sat there back there, like nothing was bothering him. Like
he
just
didn't say any. I think he had more
nothing.
lines in season 2 than he had in season 1.
You would see the clones talking, and he was like this in the background.
Yes, it was a nothing burger. Like Omega was like, "Why are you leaving?" I would have been like, "Would you have even noticed if I left, bitch?"
Yeah,
like
you didn't even talk to me the whole time I was here.
What's my name? What's my name? Tell me my Echo. It's Echo.
Say my name. Say my name.
Echo. Echo. You dumb bitch. Oh my god.
Echo. No, she chews on the vowels. Echo. Echo.
God, it's fucking annoying. It's stuff like that I really, God, they need to hire an asshole at Lucasfilm. Not even someone who likes Star Wars. Maybe someone who does, who knows enough, but like someone to just sit there and critique it. Because I would love to fill the role, because that's the first thing I would say if they put her voice lines in front of me and I hear him out and Rekka, I'm looking for Hunter and Teak. I'm like, hey, no, she can't talk like this. Well, she's from New Zealand. Well, she can get a new job then, because this is not going to fucking work. And this sounds horrible. It's stuff like that where it's like someone has to be a little critical and go, hey, we're going a little too far in a few places, okay?
Yeah.
It's just too much at times. And I think, like, honestly, when I look at like Echo, Tech, and who the fuck is the other one? Oh, Crosshair. Those 3 were the highlights of this season. Over Omega, over Wrecker, over Hunter, any other characters that we saw. Those 3 were really good. And but it's proof, though, what they did with Echo, that they didn't know what to do with him from the start, because they didn't do anything with him in season 1. Season 2, they make it interesting because he's like, you know what? Like, I have a greater cause than defending this dumb bitch that I met 2 months ago. Let me go help my brothers and everything like that.
She's our sister, right? Well, we're all brothers and sisters. Why is she so special compared to everyone else?
Yeah, exactly. And well, let's be honest, guys. I'm kind of like the fifth wheel in this Bad Batch group. I just kind of joined in at the last second because of Crosshair leaving. So why don't you just get?
I'm not looking to be a dad.
Yeah. Do you know how many years I was locked up in a fucking computer? You think I care about this little girl?
I'm not ready for a relationship, let alone fatherhood right now. So you brought up Palpatine.
None of you talk to me.
Yeah. You brought up Palpatine and the Senate. What about Senator Chuchi? The name always makes it's like a Italian. It's like an Italian name from the 50s.
The Chuchi crime family. I remember.
I thought her scenes were well, though. I enjoyed her scenes.
I like I like that it's not like, I don't know, Bail Organa was in it, but I like it so it's not just Bail and Mon Mothma.
It's kind of Padme. It's like the eventual succession to Padme,
But it is unique enough where it feels like it's just kind of her thing. It doesn't feel like she's trying to join a rebellion or anything like that. It just feels like she's like, you know what, the clones need some help. They helped me a lot,
right?
And I'm
her pet
here
project.
Yeah, it was interesting enough to merit, I guess, a story in this season, and I have no complaints with her showing up. And most of the stuff that they did with the Senate was actually pretty good. I will say, and the idea of phasing out the clones and what to do about clone civil rights and all that stuff.
Right. And you're seeing the early days of it where it's like they're unsure. It's like, do we still really have power? They're like they're like not sure. How much?
Well, there's that one episode with Crosshair on that guy. His name was Haymaker, and like the Imperial guy was like, "You guys are, what's the word for it? Like, not indisposable, or no, he's just disposable." He's like, "I don't need you anymore. Well, I'm not going to put any resources in saving your lives because you're clones. You served your purpose. Now fucking die and get on." Like, it's interesting narratively to approach that story and deal with this transition period and how it does affect the clones. The problem with it is that it's such a minute part of this series because the main focus is Omega and what she is and the clone. But even with that, the whole point of this series seems to be like Omega and the secret cloning project and what she's all about.
Right.
We really don't know anything about it after two entire seasons. Like literally nothing. Just that she is.
They gave us the hints of it last season, right? So we thought we were going to get more interspersed, right?
Nothing in this season. We got a laboratory.
We got her sister.
Well, oh yeah, Far be it from me to put a woman down that needs recognition. All right, her sister had a very powerful moment of taking off those goggles and kind of helping out
Well,
Crosshair. It seemed.
at least it's apparently she grows up to be not a complete fucking annoying bitch. I mean, adult
Hey,
Omega, I
Lunga,
guess, is kind of cool.
these
But
women are distinct, and I know they have the same DNA and are clones of each other, but every woman is different. All right, and don't you ever assume that Omega will grow up to be the same.
well, we know
Strong,
that because
independent woman.
every clone is different, and I just mentioned how I hate half of them too. So I think we're okay.
Y'all can have the same.
They're
DNA.
making
You're all pieces of shit to me.
they're making me hate Tamura Morrison. It's like I can't see his face anymore. I'm done with this motherfucker. It's like I can't. I've seen too much. I can't even go.
Bradley Baker's voice, poor guy. Like he's voicing pretty much 99% of the fucking cast. And it gets to a point where I'm like, God, I would kill for a different voice right now just to hear somebody. Omega, talk for a second. Rekka, shut the fuck up again. Go back to D. Go back to D, Bradley Baker, please. I can't do it. Or Wanda Strike. I don't fucking care at this point. Well, what are you hoping for in the inevitable third season that, unfortunately for us here on Chatooine, we are going to have to cover when it comes out? We're not going to do, it's 16 episodes. We're not going to do like 16 weeks straight of fucking Bad Batch. We'll do episodes
Yeah,
one,
I know.
and then the final episode, and then we will never talk about Bad Batch.
Well, we may have to do more than that because there's too many fucking episodes. We may have to do like I would say at least three episodes before for the whole season.
We could do
it's
like
one episode
like
covering four episodes.
a middle, and if they're good enough episodes, we could maybe do like well, this is a good enough episode to talk about the show. But we'll cross that bridge and blow.
Well,
it up.
I expect. No, expect is the wrong word because expect means that's what I think they're going to do. I hope that at least a third of the episodes revolve around this cloning storyline. Number one. Okay. At least a third to, I would say, half of the season needs to focus on that. Okay. And I know they're not going to do that because that means you're not going to see the whole crew. You're just going to see, oh, wait a minute. They might do that because all you see is fucking Omega. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a third to half needs to focus on that. I need to see that, and not just focus on it and spinning your wheels. Right. I need that storyline to move because it hasn't moved in 32 episodes. So I need it to move. Okay. In season 3. Honestly, that's about it. Cause you can't fix everything. You kill Omega, but that's not going to happen.
God, I would love that. I would love if they all died, honestly, but that's just me being a dick like usual.
Yeah. And I would even say, because it's not going to happen because they're going to want to do it like Clone Wars. But I think this third season should be the end.
No, it is. This is the final season.
It is? Oh,
yeah. I think you think they're doing 4? Like, no, it is time to wrap this motherfucker up. Like,
good.
There's no way in hell that Disney is like, yes, we need a 4th season of Bad Batch. Like, I'm honestly shocked that they even got to a third. Like, I'm assuming that this series is so cheap to make that Disney had no choice but to say yes, because they were like, okay, so I mean, we're guaranteed to get at least like 500,000 viewers because of the fan base, and it's not really expensive to make this series. It's like a fifth of the budget of The Mandalorian. Like, D. Bradley Baker is 90% of the fucking cast. Like, how expensive is it to run this? I will say though, the series does have the best animation quality out of all of the Star Wars.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
like you don't know because I think
because I don't think it's that much greater than what we already had with Clone Wars. I mean, it's a little bit improved, but it's not like
maybe not like
drastically better.
Like much better than season 7 of Clone Wars, but all the stuff. I mean, Clone Wars. That's one great thing about it is like season 1 looked horrible, but as it aged, it got better. And by
because the technology got better and their skill at CGI got better, so it, got better as it went along.
Yeah, but I mean, then it was weird because with Rebels, it was horrible. I mean, the animation in Rebels is. I don't know how anyone defends that series, but anyways, the only thing.
Where's Goldman? When's Goldman when you need him, right?
Oh, he'd be coming in. It's not a bad series. It looks amazing. I love pencil fucking lightsabers.
Your listen only. Your irrational hatred of the show, which is honestly a good show, needs to stop because it's not as bad as you make it sound.
The fact that you say it's not that bad means that it's that bad. Like, we are going to have an episode on Rebels, and I'm going to go by the numbers of, oh, look how unpopular it was. Well, it was on Disney XD. Fuck you. Fuck you. It is not a good series. You talk about member berries. The only reason that show did so well or was revered in any kind of way is because they brought back shit from the Clone Wars. Oh, no one likes the Ghost Crew? Well, here's Ahsoka. Here's Rex. I don't fucking care. Anywho, back to what is this series called? Oh, Bad Batch. Before I go on a goddamn rant at Rebels. Season 3. Here are 3 things I completely expect to happen. Number 1, Crosshair comes back with the team. I expect the first 2 episodes of this season, and you guys can check the books in like 3 or 4 months now, whenever this series comes out, and see what I got right about this. I expect the first 2 episodes is rescuing Omega and getting her back with the help of Crosshair. Maybe Crosshair and her escape, and then they find the rest of the group or something like that. The rest of the season, they pretty much go back to Pabu, that planet where all the refugees live. No symbolism, by the way. And they help the refugees, and that's where they get a lot of little side ventures of, oh, there's another wave coming. We got to go stop the wave, guys. And oh, Sid's out here, and we got to go take her down or something like that. One last mission with Sid. And then at the end, maybe the last 2 or 3 episodes, they're going to tie up everything where, Omega lives a long, happy life with her sister and the other girls on Pabu, and they start an all-women's book club. And the other clones go off and, I don't know, maybe they die, maybe they age. I don't know. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be bare bones basic. I would really like there to be a good amount of payoff with this Omega arc and storyline that they have been dragging through the mud. Yep. I not even through the mud, dragging through. They have taken their sweet time. I don't think we're going to get a lot of good answers, though. I really feel like because of the way they have done the storyline, I feel like we might not get almost any answers that we want. But honestly, answers to what? Like, I don't even really have any questions about this. I think it's the whole promise of my premise.
Well, the cloning thing, you don't have questions about that? How she ties into it? How, that, because guaranteed this, we might even see a baby Grogu. Because they got him at Order 66. And if they're already doing this thing, this project involves him too, probably. So there's going to be.
But he's already with Kelren Beck.
I just said a baby Grogu. It's like he's still a baby. But
no, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, whatever. 50-year-old baby, 2-month-old baby. They're both babies.
Yeah, I mean, did we get a timeline? We don't know. When did the Empire get their hands on him?
Well, that's the question. Is we don't. I don't even think the Empire ever got their hands on him until Mando season 1, because
they were chasing him.
At the beginning of episode 1, he was with captured by a crew or something like that. That Din was working for the Empire to get Grogu out of this crew, and then we know.
Well, there you go. But so this is the precursor. This is the precursor to that. Then Omega was the blueprint, and Grogu's the answer, right? So
she was the baby print for the baby. I don't. I understand the questions of it, of like, how does Omega tie into this? But because it's been going on for so long, it's like I don't care anymore, because it goes back to like my thing with the Rey situation at the beginning of The Force Awakens, of like, it makes you say, well, okay, well, who are her parents then? And then by The Last Jedi, it goes, well, it doesn't matter who her parents are. It's like, okay, well, you told me that, you made me ask you this question, and now you're not going to answer it. That's how I feel with this Omega stuff, of like, okay, I've had these questions since season 1. You kind of went into it a little bit at the end of the first season, I think. I can't really remember that well. But even then, I don't really remember why any of this matters. Like, I just know that there's a girl clone, and she's special. She doesn't get aged, and there's something special about her. What is it? I don't know. Have I got any answers? Not even the fucking slightest. Oh, now she has a sister, which is so surprising, because now there's 2 girl clones. It's stuff like that where it's like, this isn't any kind of payoff for anything. these 2 seasons theoretically could have just been one. There's certain arcs that couldn't have worked out like that because the stuff with Crosshair, you really did need to play out over 2. Like, it would have been stupid if he had left in the beginning and then joined at the end of season 1. So it makes sense what they did with him. But everything with Omega and the original group and the storyline of her being a clone and how this all ties in, they have dragged it on so much that as someone who's only seen both seasons once, I don't know and I don't care anymore. That is the worst thing about this is, like, they could not finish the story and I could not fucking care less. What's the point? But that's the problem with Lucasfilm in general too. They start a lot of things.
It's a lot of shit.
They don't finish.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to see that storyline wrapped up? Like, your interest in it for not the Bad Batch series as a whole, but just the stuff with Omega and the cloning stuff. A 4? Okay, yeah, that's I'm at a 2.
And
Maybe
the 4 is
1.
literally because of the cloning. If it wasn't for the cloning, I'd be at a 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because the thing with the sister didn't make it any better. It didn't make me go, oh, I can't wait to see what. It just made me go like, okay, and
Well, what it shows you is her grown up is the one who's behind all this. She's the one who's is she? Because there's another that doctor is
fucking guy. Yeah, like it's
the evil scientist over there, or whatever his fucking name is.
It makes you wonder and makes you ask, like, why do I care? Why should I care?
Dr. Royce Hemlock. Dr. Hemlock.
Oh yeah, I should have remembered that because I literally watched like 2 hours.
By the way, his character, the little bit we got with him, his voice and the way he looked, he was kind of menacing. I did like him.
Yeah, he's good at what he does, but I've noticed with Star Wars recently, we have a weird thing with these scientists all being evil and stuff, and just I don't.
Well, the one in Mando wasn't, right? He just wanted to help, right? And then he got killed for it. There you go.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a fucking loser, anyways, and kind of creepy. I don't know. Looks like a fucking nerd. Let me go on an ice cream date with this chick who looks more manly.
Look at you! Look at you, the guy who's into martial arts and stuff, calling a scientist a nerd.
Hey, I'm doing this shit. I'm not a fucking nerd too. The only reason I ever did any martial arts was so I could eat like the fat pig that I am and stay in shape. And then I could also, back my ass up because it's always been weird to people of like, oh, you're into Star Wars like heavily. It's like, okay, but you fight people. It's like, yeah. And you listen to rap.
Wars?
Have you seen Star Wars? fucking love you. What's his name? Mike Staclosta. Shout out to Mr. Plinkett. Okay, well, this has been the worst episode of Chatooine, but we do need to wrap it up because me and Lunga don't want to talk about this anymore.
No. Did you have some Twitter stuff you wanted to share or anything?
I didn't get any tweets ready for this episode.
Okay.
We'll do this week on Star Wars Twitter next week because this episode is, since this is the worst, we just got to get it in and out real quick.
Pretty much.
Final thoughts on this season, and what would you rate the entire? I don't know how you want to do it. Do you want to just rate season 2, or do you want to rate the series so far? You can pick on it.
I guess I get a little bit of both. Yeah. Again, we're doing out of 10 here. The whole series again, it's like a 3 or 4. It's just it's. They haven't given me anything. They haven't given me anything to really care about. And the only thing I do care about, they haven't done shit with, to where it's like you're gonna make me sit through another fucking 16 episodes to get what, another nugget of it. It's like, come on. And I do want to rate.
They give you the cliffhanger and they're like, find out in the Mandoverse movie what happens.
It's like I could have skipped all of this and just watched Mando and found it out. I do want to rate this comment from a Palpamemes. Thank you, Palpamemes, for being a fan of the show. Don't believe the fake news. I have been banned and assaulted from the Lame Tween show, according to him. And I actually got to move this because it's not high enough.
I'm not high enough either to enjoy this fucking show. That's for damn sure.
There we go.
Well, thanks for tuning in, Palpamemes. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And that goes for anyone else watching this fucking disaster of an episode. So you said you rate the series a 3. What would
Yeah.
you rate season 2?
You want me to change the number?
I'm just glad you're consistent. Because I think
We're at
I'd give.
Wait, I gotta pull out my full Chicago. We're at a tree. Okay, we're at a tree. That's where we're at. At a tree, and it's staying at a tree.
I thought that's how the Irish said 3. I didn't know
No,
Chicago didn't
no,
have
it's Chicago. Apparently, trees are a number. So it's 1, 2,
You
tree.
don't even know what a tree is. There's no trees in Chicago. It's nothing but winter and death.
All good things come in trees, buddy.
Okay. Well, as you said, good things come in trees because we're gonna get tree seasons soon of this goddamn series. And I think I would rate this season. Fuck! Like, I don't want to. I can't give it anything over a 5. But even 5 is like, oh, well, it's average. You know, there's something. No, the series is a. Damn, 2 is really disrespectful. Like, that's like really, really bad. But I'm gonna give the series a 2, and I'm gonna give this season a 3. I guess
he sits here and beats this show like a redheaded stepchild, and then goes, "But if I give you a 2, it's disrespectful."
It's so bad. It's just so bad.
It's like bleeding and bruised from your assault, and you're like, "But you know what? You're a good kid. I'll give you a 3."
Here's a 20. Go get some ice cream, you little brat. No, I guess this is how like shills feel when it comes to Star Wars content because they just can't admit any of the new Star Wars stuff is bad. So they like watch like the worst Star Wars they've ever seen, and they're like, you know what? It could have been better, but a 7 out of 10. I would see again. Yeah, okay.
And listen, season 7 of Clone Wars was like 8, 9 to me. It was good. Okay, I really liked it, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm expecting more of the same with the fucking Bad Batch.
See,
no,
and I hated season 7 of the Clone Wars.
I know you did.
Clone Wars season 7 is like the prequels to me. You know, everyone just likes the ending. I love Siege of Mandalore. Yeah, what about the other 8 episodes that were just god awful? But anywho, I do want to ask before we wrap this up: is this worse than the Book of Boba Fett?
Oh no, I'd watch this again before the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh my god!
Yes, I will watch all 16 episodes of this, then watch the 1 episode with the fucking scooter kids.
Oh my god! I actually have been kind of thinking about rewatching Book of Boba just to kind of remember myself how bad it was, but like a bantha.
Just that. That's all I can think about. Every time Bob gets brought up, that's all I see in my head. That's all I fucking see.
His veneers, bro. His veneers look really, really bad in the show.
Yeah,
too.
apparently the acid in the Sarlacc pit really does wonders for your teeth.
Well, now I need to hop back in that Sarluki, whatever the fuck, Sarlusi, and get that sucky suck going on so I can get those clean teeth like Tamara Morrison. No, I think I might pick Book of Boba over this series, honestly.
Bob,
just because it's you're asking me the difference between 32 episodes that I really have a trial to go through.
Yeah, but there were episodes in there that I guarantee you said there were some. I guarantee you there was episodes in there that you like better than any episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
That is accurate. That is very true.
Okay,
like the first episode and the last episode of season 1 was amazing. Or maybe it wasn't even the last episode. I remember not being a big fan of the very last episode, but the one before that, where like Camino Falls.
So what you're saying is they should have just made a 1-hour animated movie, nothing at that.
Honestly, I mean. I don't understand the decision-making process over there. Like, did Kathleen Kennedy just see something about like the Bad Batch on her desk and was like, "Who the fuck is what is?"
Oh no, this
10 million to make. All right.
I yelled at you last time for trying to put everything at Filoni's feet, but no, I blame Filoni for it. This is all Filoni.
Oh, this is absolutely Filoni.
Oh, Filoni, 100%.
My big things with him is people are like, oh, Filoni's great, and everything he does is magic and all that. I'm like, have you seen Bad Batch?
I've never said
series director,
everything he's done, but Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
what
yeah,
he has
there's some
done
stinkers
has
in
never
there.
been all that great. This is a pretty not so great series. So I cannot wait for season 3, because it's coming right around the corner, and
I can't wait
the
for
4
season
of
3,
us
so that way we won't have to talk about it ever again.
ever fucking again. I think that's the most happy and excited you will ever see me on this show. I think we could even have like a little bonfire together. The 4 of us will travel across the country. We'll buy all the Bad Batch Omega merch shit that we can.
It's funny you say that. I haven't gotten anything, but during season 1, I would go in Star Wars Santa's chat and just talk shit about Omega the entire fucking. Fuck Omega, fuck Omega, fuck. And they're like, man, Lunga really hates Omega. I'm like, you're fucking right, I do. And Santa kept saying, I'm going to get you $1 of the dollars and I'm going to send it to you. I'm like, do it, please, because I will live stream me putting it in a fire pit and burning it.
Well, that sounds like a plan. Star Wars Santa, if you're listening, I don't know how many times you've checked that list, but me and Lunga have been both naughty and nice this year.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, you want to answer this one? He says you're very old guys for these things. You want to let him know where
I'm 24. I'm a young man. I'm an old man trapped in a young man's body.
Right. I'm the only old guy here. He's 24. Yeah. Goldman is around the same age. He's gonna be 25, right? He's like a year older than you, I think.
I think he's 25. Yeah.
Yeah, and Papa Memes is like 21.
23. No, he's
23.
Like 23,
yeah,
22.
23.
So but out of all of us, even though Lunga has me by age, I am the oldest in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, he's worse than me. He's ridiculous.
Even my managers at work, I pissed them off like a couple weeks ago because they were like, why do you need to take a rest or something like that? And I was like, bro, I'm old, Joe. And he was like, you're not old. I was like, Joe, I was around for the 70s. I remember Woodstock. I remember Reagan. I remember Star Wars. Not the movie. I remember Star Wars from Reagan. You remember? And he would be like, he'd look at me, he's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, you probably just saw all of this on YouTube or something or read about it. He's like, you don't remember any of it. I was like, no, I was there. Marty McFly, the DeLorean. I remember. You remember going postal? I remember going postal. That was. Oh, God,
well, we have jumped the shark. I think it's time to wrap this motherfucker up.
All right. Thank you all for watching. See you guys. Oh wait, do we have the calendar, Lunga, before we go?
No, I forgot to put it up. I can do it though quickly.
Okay,
I can.
I'll spiel real quick for it. We're gonna have a Star Wars holiday special for, I believe, next week's episode. Next week's the 20th, so we have 5 days before Christmas. So we are gonna do a Chatooine Christmas special. So please tune in for that. We're making the list and schedule for everything going into 2024. Should be a couple of shows that we'll cover, like the Acolyte will come out in maybe summer, and then Skeleton Crew's coming out at the end of the year. So those are shows that we're of course going to cover, and then we have Bad Batch season 3. And if you guys have any like recommendations for topics or anything you guys want us to cover over the show, please leave a comment. But this is our schedule coming up. This is
that's the next
month, but fuck it.
That's next month. We just put number. You would calendar 3, calendar 4, calendar. How do I know which one's which? Tell me.
Because it goes 3, 4, 5.
God damn it, that's the wrong one too.
No, this is fuck it. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. So next week is the Chatooine Christmas special. The 27th, we're taking a break. January 3rd, we're having the Star Wars in 2024 episode where we discuss what we expect for 2024 and talk about everything that is going to come to Star Wars. And on the 10th, we're having the debate on the sequel trilogy, if it was a success or a failure. So make sure you guys tune in for all of that. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday night for the Christmas special. We'll probably go over all the most Christmas-y moments in Star Wars, or things that make us think of Christmas in Star Wars. I don't fucking know. We'll figure it out. So thank you guys for watching today's video. If you're still here, please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on all the socials. Everything is in the description below. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at the same time. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you always.
Wow.